Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator. But as you guys can tell, today we're going to be talking about something quite a bit different. And let's just say the reaction that I had when I first sat in this was significantly different than I thought it was going to be. So stick around because I'm going to tell you guys what we're using, why I picked these up, what my impression has been of them, and how different it really is than what I thought it was going to be.
If you are interested in any of my tutorial guides for Microsoft Flight Simulator, or simply interested in supporting the channel, consider joining me on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides as well as any future guides that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below.
Alright folks, so as I said, you guys can tell we've gone to large screen triples. Now, we're going to be talking about a few things here. I'm going to be talking about what these TVs are. A link to them specifically will be down in the description below. Why I picked them up, why I decided to do this, what the difference is for me that has really changed the way that I'm enjoying the simulator, and what my expectations initially were. As well as what we were using before. So let's start there. First off, this is not my first time using triples. I have used triple monitors for years. However, previous to this, I had three 28-inch monitors that I was using as my triple setup. And as though it was fun, it never gave me that sense of immersion or that really incredible oohing, awing experience that you would expect to get from something like that. And so when I made the switch over to VR, I always told myself that VR was going to be the end-all be-all, and we'll get to the comparison there because there's some back and forth that I'm already doing mentally between virtual reality and the triple screens. Secondly, a big factor to this that is really important to mention is right now we are using the DOF Reality H3 motion simulation pit, and we're going to be bringing this back to the channel full time. This thing is absolutely epic, and this has totally made this whole setup quite the experience, and this is part of why this is happening. So first off, these are three 50-inch Vizio TVs. The reason why I finally pulled the trigger and decided to do this is just for you guys' knowledge. Right now Target has these on sale for $215 a piece, and given that price, I decided, you know what, at 4K LED, yes, they're only 60 hertz, but for 4K LED, I decided that that was reasonable enough for me to be willing to take the dive, and it was within a budget that I could actually swing. You guys know my situation, so you know I had to really count the dimes and decide if this was worth it to do it. I was very hesitant at first. I was very nervous too, and I'm going to say that I'm really glad that I did. So now, in conjunction with the motion simulator, I will say that now I don't think, just for the record, the motion simulator is not a requirement by any means, and to get the experience that I want. The initial experience when I first fired up the sim and I got the views set up the way they are here, I was mind blown, and I'm still mind blown. It has been absolutely incredible being able to simply look around as you would outside of a window and get this kind of experience from it. It's absolutely altering. So we're going to go for a flight, and just to let you guys know, we are also using the Moza AB9 force feedback base with a flight stick as our flight controls. We have a throttle over here, but I'm not allowed to tell you what it is yet, but you'll be blown away by it when the time comes as well. Some of you may have an idea, may have saw a sneak peek of it in a previous video by mistake, and that video that I did was by mistake. Well, it wasn't by mistake, it was released by mistake, but in my defense, they didn't tell me that that was a mistake by releasing the mistake. Anyways, so let's go ahead and just sort of go for flight, and we'll talk a little bit here. I'm going to release the parking brake, and let's get rolling here. And as you guys can tell, it's going to be used for multiple other applications as well. I don't know if I'm too close to that. Okay, cool. So the experience is literally awe-inspiring. I mean, it really is. And I may actually bring the TVs a little closer to me, just as a tip. One of the things, whoa, brakes. one of the things that I am going to be looking at here is individual TV stands. Right now it's on a full triple mount, and I think I'm going to switch to individual mounts. That way I can set them up in damn near a true 90 degrees. What you guys are seeing here is 70 degrees on angle on both sides. So both TVs are right at the 70 degree line. I need to really... this throttle, I need to get it dialed in. It's a throttle that, like I said, is new to me, so I haven't been using a lot of it. But you guys will hopefully get the idea here already. And any lag that you guys may be seeing is in part to the fact they are full 4K resolution right now, and we are at ultra settings. And you guys know, if you guys have ever set up the triple windows, the 3 independent windows, it gets a little funky. And these are a little bit, let me point that out as well. These are going to be a little bit even more funky because right now these 3 screens are working with NVIDIA Surround. So as far as the computer and NVIDIA is concerned, this is one big monitor, which means each one of these is its own individual windowed monitor, which means its own individual rendering. So that's going to add a little bit of performance degradation there. Plus I'm recording, which OBS always takes a little bit of frame rate from us. All right, let's see if I can actually keep this thing center line today. Airspeed alive, 60 knots, and let's get out of here. Ooh. And I haven't set up my landing gear yet. But this, being able to do this is what's cool. Being able to look around, look out the window as you really would. It's a completely different experience than what you would expect. It truly is. And I think I'm probably sitting a little further back than I should, and I feel like I'm a little further down than I should be. So we could probably come forward a little bit. Something probably like that is more accurate. Obviously there's a lot of tweaking that you need to do, and then you can play with the zoom levels and things like that to get your field of view or your, image the way that you would expect. That one's kind of a nice one, just because you can see out the back window, and you can still use head tracking like Beam Track IR or Beam Eye Tracker. You can still use things like that to get what you need, to get the views that you're looking for. Let's pull some power off here. You'll be able to tell that I haven't set my propeller pitch up yet either. But the nice thing about this is with the larger screens in comparison to the smaller triples that I had before, the immersive experience is far greater and far stronger. And if anything, the screens are cheaper than most of your monitors. And where I was really blown away by here is that you don't need the big fancy OLED TVs in order to pull this off and pull it off nice. This is just a standard LED 4K TV, like I was saying earlier. It's not even QLED. QLED would probably be a better way to go, knowing what I know now, but like I said, these TVs were at the right price point, at the right time, in the right place, and there were 3 of them at the right location. So it really made a huge difference for me. So cool. The motion pit with the large screens, by the way, is absolutely killer. Now, the catch to this, to all this, as exciting as all this is, the catch to this, I will actually tell you, is the monitor stand. The only one that I was able to find, and I didn't look very hard, admittedly, was like Next Level Racing's monitor stands, and their triple monitor stands, the max that I could see they held, were up to 43 inches. These are 50-inch. They are on a Next Level Racing triple monitor stand that I already had. That's what I've been using before. But that monitor stand, like I said, only technically supports 43 inches, but they're on there. I'm using 2 wood clamps up on top to keep the, and the bottom to keep them pinched together so that way the bezels line up. You can do that. Be gentle. You don't need a lot of pressure, okay? You don't want to break the TV. But this experience is... Let's start comparing it to VR, okay? You still don't get near the depth perception experience that you get from virtual reality, obviously. Like, you just, it's really hard to replicate that 3D environment in a 2D scene. What you do gain is obviously comfort. There's nothing on my face. For those of you who do get, you know, motion sickness or things like that, or you know, VR does tend to make some people just get sick in general. You don't have to worry about that, obviously. And this is far cheaper than the full VR setup that would be required. So what I mean by that is, not than the headset. The three monitors, these three monitors are about the cost of the Pimax Crystal Lite, which, by the way, I think is the best virtual reality headset on the market at the price right now. It's absolutely worth it. And that was sort of the toss-up for me in doing this. But then you have to figure in the graphics card to push it, the CPU to push it, all the RAM. This is probably going to be cheaper to get going than a VR compatible headset is. And guys, if you guys are curious about my computer specs, they're all listed down below. Now, we are still running the RTX 4080. I do have an AMD 7900X3D in this machine, and 64 gigs of RAM 6000. So it's no slouch, and everything's running off of M.2 for the storage. So it's no slouch. The computer is definitely not, she's not a wimp by any means. But it's probably easier to obtain this kind of performance. And again, all of the settings within Microsoft Flight Simulator are at Ultra. Right now, the only thing that is not at Ultra is I turn motion blur off and I turn depth of field off. Depth of field is just one of those things that I think people either love it or they hate it. And for me, I'm one of those ones who hates it. I don't know, it doesn't model well for me. But as far as everything else goes, this is incredibly, like I said, I just can't stress enough, you guys are going to hear this a lot, it's an incredibly immersive experience for a very reasonable price, in the aspect of these are 50-inch screens that were just over $200 a piece. And you'd be surprised how many of those are actually out there. There's quite a few of them on Amazon as well. To give you guys some, I've been doing a lot of research on this over the last couple weeks. Hisense is a brand that is definitely coming up. Sansui is a nice one that's coming out of Micro Center if you guys want to order from Micro Center, or if you live near a Micro Center, they have them super cheap right now, but you have to go and pick them up. Unfortunately, I don't. There isn't the closest Micro Center to me, I believe, is in California, and I'm in Tucson, Arizona, where we are here. So it's just mind-blowing. I do this also with American Truck Simulator at the moment, as well as Farming Simulator. Farming Simulator, I'll just give you guys a heads up, does not like triple screens at all. It doesn't seem to matter what you do, the two side screens will always be stretched and pulled, and it just looks like crap. But even on the larger screen, FYI, if you happen to enjoy it, for example, logging is significantly easier on a larger screen. Just throwing a little tip out there. But it is a very nice alternative to virtual reality, especially if you even have like an old 50-inch or something like that sitting around, maybe in a room that isn't used. One reason why I mention that is I've had a 43-inch sitting in my closet for months that I never used because I didn't know this was even going to be a thing, even with a single screen. The one thing that I would recommend right out of the gate, if you guys decide to go this route, is make sure that whatever 3 screens you get, if you guys decide to do this, make sure they're the same. And I mean same make, same model, everything. Because what will happen is if you get any kind of color difference, which you're going to anyway, no two TVs are made perfectly identical, but any kind of color gradients that you get between the 3 TVs, you're going to notice it. It's going to be pretty prominent. Like even on this one here, I'm actually wondering if some of the color settings are a little different on these two, but like this one here, up in the window there at the corner, the blue looks a little bit more like of a turquoise than what we're getting here, where it's nice and blue. So it really just depends on the scenario and what you're doing. This screen in general, now part of it I think is just because I'm looking head on. Like this one doesn't look as bad as like this one does. Like if you really look for it, you can see little nuances, you can see little differences. But like let's fly a Baron 58 the way you're not supposed to. Let's get it down low and fast. One of the really cool things that I really enjoyed is you get a sense of motion with this. And he says that as he's sitting in a motion pit. That's not what I meant. I meant everything going past us. So as we get down low and fast, I can see it out of my peripheral. I can see that we're moving, and we're moving quickly. And again, it is nice just being able to look out the window and get an idea of where we are, what we're doing. And this is just a fantastic compromise. And it really just depends on what you're doing. Whether or not virtual reality is better or whether or not the big screen is. I would say that virtual reality, your standard triple monitors, okay, just triple monitors like I had before, the 328s, virtual reality shatters it, just blows it out of the water. There is no comparison, okay, there's none. Moving to the large screens like these, that's where the difference happened. That was the kicker. You get more of that true to life physical size, and it just gives you a much better feel that you're in the real thing. Your situational awareness and your ability to spot objects out at a distance is fantastic, because it's far greater than what you see in the monitors. So it's a much easier time to sort of manage what you're doing. Flying your patterns and things like that, it's a lot easier to establish where you are. And it's one of those things, guys, that just, like, I hope this video is helping some of you, like, sort of think about how you want to update your sim. The other thing I'll tell you is we are not in a very big room. This office is not big by any means. The distance between from corner to corner here is 70 inches, I believe is what I measured at the other day. And I don't remember what the distance from front to aft is. Total distance, I would guess probably somewhere in the area, probably about 5 or 6 feet. So it's not terrible. And like I said, this office is not a large room that we're in by any means. I've actually debated moving my bed into this room and just using my master bedroom as my office, because I have so much stuff now. But hopefully through the camera you guys are sort of getting an idea of how cool this really is. And I was blown away at the price. Speaking back to the monitor stands for a second, like I was saying earlier, I'm already debating getting single independent stands, and you can pick stands up for about, you know, $60 to $70. That will get you anywhere from 3 to 5 feet of elevation on the TV. And obviously that's the other kicker, is you have to make sure your elevation is high enough. I'm actually debating lowering these just a little bit more, but we'll see. We're going to be doing a no flaps landing here. No, I didn't bind my flaps yet either. This is one of those things where I sort of got in it, loved it so much, had to go do some other things, came back and was like, you know what, I'm going to share this with the crowd. So let's see here. Let's see what we got. There we go. And even with the monitors or the large screens, I still managed to blow my approach. There we go. It wasn't too bad. I've done better as we come in at 120 knots. You need to slow down, mamas. You need to slow down. We'll bleed it off here in a second. It's a good thing we have 11,000 feet of runway. There we go. See that DLSS in action there. Actually saw a bit of shimmering. It's funny, I hadn't noticed it in the monitors in quite a long time, but on the TV I do. So I guess the final part is, would I recommend this over virtual reality? And no, I recommend both. That's a really tough question. I don't know. I don't know. The advantage here is going to be with obviously set like this. If you buy your G1000s, your GNS 530s, all your button box, your switches, your autopilots, your FCPs, your MCDUs, you buy all this stuff, yeah, then something like this is going to be significantly better. And the next time we fly it, we're going to do a commercial flight and just see what it's like inside one of the airliners, because I bet that's going to be a lot of fun too. Again, we're going to get a much greater perspective of how big these aircraft are with the larger screens. The larger dimension, the more you're going to have that visual equilibrium, if you will, between your brain and the simulator. Things are going to equalize quite a bit better. But this is super killer, you guys. And if you're American Truck Simulator fans, I can't stress it enough. That's another one that very well does the triple monitors. It does it very, very nicely. So you can again set that peripheral vision up to where you look to the left and you're looking out the window just as we are here. The one thing that I wish, and we can do it with the zoom, and I got more playing around to do with this. I think what I want to do is adjust the field of view to where the window edges of the aircraft are matched with the bezels. At least this one. This one needs to be over here, I think, to where we get more of that true aspect of what you would see by the window. And we can adjust things like that with field of view. You know, your zoom wheel is essentially what that is the field of view. So there are many ways to really still tweak this out and get a much better read on your environment in a situation like this. But I definitely recommend it. I really recommend it. Even if you only have one screen, the large screen made a massive difference. And TVs have become fast enough and great enough today that, like, again, this is a $215 TV. I just can't stress enough. I think it was $240 normal price. And it's fantastic. Like, I love it. It's a wonderful experience now. Now, mind you, this is day 2, right? So there's always that to consider too. But so far, I've been very, very happy. If you guys can't tell. We're gonna park over by Executive just because I feel like being a snob. These Barons, man, they like to get going. And I'm going to park in reverse, just to boot. All right. So again, a quick recap here, guys. The experience is, I mean, the only thing that you're missing here still is the depth perception. You know, you still don't have the depth perception, but in a way it is kind of there. I don't know how to explain it, but with the larger screen you do get a better feel of what the aircraft is doing and where you are. The immersive experience is absolutely fantastic. Doesn't require you to wear anything. You don't have to worry about the horsepower required to push VR at a high enough quality where it's an enjoyable experience. Although with DLSS being where it is, that changes that too. But again, with DLS being where it is, it's easier to run something like this at 4K as well. So I mean, it's a constant back and forth. I hope I gave you guys something to think about. I really do. This has been a really, really cool experience. It was a little bit of a pain in the ass to get it all set up to where everything was labeled or level and everything in line with each other. But once you get it, it's definitely worth having. And again, with the DOF Reality H3 Motion Simulator, I can't stress enough what kind of an experience this adds. You guys are going to see all kinds of stuff coming to the 3 channels. Now, 3 channels, remember, we have this channel. We have Overkill Entertainment 8. A link to that is down in the description below, where you guys will see everything flight simulation and then some. American Truck Simulator, Farming Simulator, Construction Simulator, and same thing with Twitch. On Twitch, make sure you guys follow me down on Twitch as well. You'll see everything there. YouTube, or this channel, Overkill Simulations, is the only one that for the most part will remain dedicated to strictly flight simulation. But we're also going to be bringing DCS World back to the other one. We have some new equipment. I'm going to show you guys on that as well. It's going to get intense, guys. So, as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe button, guys, and stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.